Hello, students. This is your week one announcement for MMDD 255 Emerging Multimedia Practice 2. We did it, folks. Somehow I knew it would happen, but we made it to the year 2022. Time continues to go in one inevitable direction, which seems to be increasing the years every time they happen. So instead of going back to 2020, we're in 2022. And let's hope that's a good thing, right? Let's hope we don't want to go back to 2020. Let's hope 2022 is finally the year when things get back on track, right? That being said, here we are once again, online class teaching for the MMDD program. While there may be potential opportunities for in-person later on in the semester, I am approaching this semester in this course online to ensure that all students have access to all the same things and can move forward in this course at a good pace. So this is your announcement video, which you will be getting these throughout the semester, which is meant to be me giving you some idea of what's going on this week in the course, what you should be working on, any relevant resources that have been posted on Blackboard, all of that grand old stuff. Now, there's quite a few new things that have happened in the meantime since we last saw each other like this, believe it or not. One major thing is that you finished the last course, right? MMDD 232, and I'm going to keep always referring to that as kind of the previous course because it's what precedes this one, right? This is a successing course, a successor to that course, a follow-up to that course, trying to figure out the right word there. That is basically the same class over again, except now you're doing it in 9 weeks instead of 14, and you're doing a new project this time around, or you're at least approaching your previous project with a new set of eyes to expand on it in some way. So yes, this video will be me just sort of going through the most important information for you currently on Blackboard. So let's go ahead and jump in. What is this? Is this Blackboard? It is. Okay. Something you may have noticed that changed over the past few weeks that we were gone is Blackboard has been changed. Okay. We are now living in the world of Blackboard Ultra. Now, we are both learning through this Ultra world together. Okay, I'm going to be honest with you there. Even when I was setting up classes for this week, I was having to kind of just reacquaint myself with what is new about this platform, this new Blackboard, what has changed, what is no longer there. So all of that to say that those of you who, like myself, got very comfortable with the previous version of Blackboard, however sort of questionable certain aspects of it may have been, I did get into a pretty, consistent rhythm with how things were organized and all that kind of stuff. And that changes now. So now we're doing the Ultra version of that. And so the main difference that I would say changed for me in terms of how I understood Blackboard is that there's no longer the organization of all your content on the left-hand navigation here, okay? There is some stuff here, but it's not how it used to be, where I would put all your course materials in this navigation bar, have them organized by different sections and all that grand old stuff. Now, everything is in this course content area here, okay? And so this is where course content will go, okay? And it may seem a bit confusing at first, but hopefully it's somehow more streamlined. That seems to be the sort of gist of Blackboard Ultra, is that it is more streamlined. A lot of the features of the previous Blackboard are actually gone. So I'm having to figure out and change different ways that I do stuff because there isn't quite as much customization with the things that you can do. However, it does look a lot nicer, and I think it should run better. So I think that, this is change, and it might seem kind of daunting at first or like confusing, but my hope is that over time this will end up being a better option than ye old Blackboard of the past. So here we are. We have course content. This is the main place you're going to see course content, okay? Easy enough. First off, you have the course information. So all you got to do is click on this thing, and it opens up more stuff, okay? So here we have a course and project overview, a folder that includes course outline, critical path, and assignment breakdown, as well as a document of instructor contact info and office hours. So I guess get used to these icons. This is a link, this is a folder, this is a document. If we click on the link, it opens up a new window, which is a grand course and project overview, MMDD 255, Emerging Multimedia Practice 2, which includes its own video walkthrough that I have made, going through this document, giving you an overview of the course and your project you will be creating and working on over this course. So definitely do that this week. Make sure you understand all this information. Watch the video here. Have a grand old time. That's the course and project overview, and you'll see as well I've implemented my asterisk system yet again, so that's a very important thing to make sure you go through this week. There also are additional course materials here. If you would like to go through the course outline for more detailed information, you can reference your critical path directly here, and here's an assignment breakdown of the different deliverables you will complete over the course of this semester. So those are all here in this folder, and these are all documents too. This is a document of my instructor contact info and office hours. And when I say document, let's just click on it to see what it looks like. This is what it looks like. So this is a document in Blackboard, I guess. This has my contact info, right? Classic, same as always. My email, please email me. I will say here, once again, I say it in another video, but email is my preferred means of communication. Please do not anticipate a response from Blackboard messages. So this is something that previously I could turn off in Blackboard, but in Ultra World, you can't turn it off. So you're going to see next to my name, right, if you actually do I'm doing student preview to see what things look like from your perspective, okay? So you will notice that next to my name, as you're on Blackboard, you can click on this little thing here, a little envelope, and you can message me, okay? Like I said, previously I could turn this off. Now I cannot turn this off. So the only thing I can tell you now is to not contact me through this means. Email me, please. That's all I can tell you about that. So please don't contact. If you send me a message on Blackboard messages, do not anticipate a response. If you email me, anticipate a response. And you'll see from your end, by the time it gets to you, you will be able to see this information. But if something says content isn't available like this, you can click on it, and it will tell you when it will become available. So I always used to have these timed releases on stuff, but now you can actually see the exact date when things will come out. So that should help you, right? 12 o'clock noon on Monday, right? So that's when this video will be coming out. That's when all this stuff will be available to you as a student. Anyway, let's get back to my view here. So yeah, a lot of getting used to new stuff on Blackboard. But something you need to do this week, of course, is go through your course information here, which you will do. And yes, of course, my instructor contact info and office hours. My office hours have changed a bit from last term. Here are the new hours. And once again, if you just click on this link, you can book a meeting with me at those times. And something I want to also make sure I state in this video is if you need to cancel a meeting you have made, email me ahead of time to let me know. If you do not show up to a scheduled meeting without reaching out beforehand, telling me, hey, I'm not going to make it, you may be penalized marks for the course. Because too many times I've had students book meetings with me, and then I just sit there waiting for them, and no one shows up, and they don't tell me anything about why they didn't show up or that they aren't going to show up or anything. So I feel like I have to kind of put a threat out there so students don't do that. It's very bad professional practice. You don't want to set a meeting with someone and then first off, just not show up, but second off, not tell them why you're not showing up. Or it doesn't even have to be a why. I don't need to know the specifics of why you're not going to make the meeting. Just let me know beforehand so I can cancel it and I can spend that time doing other things to make sure that everything keeps running smoothly. That's course information. Excellent info. Here, the other main area is your self-directed project area. So you'll see here, right, not all of this is visible to you yet, but this will be where your deliverables are for your project. Again, all this stuff should look familiar to you from the previous term, your research and plan, check-in, progress update, event participation in artifact, final submission, maybe a little bit of deja vu here. And I kind of have some info here as well as which week it's due. So you can think about in your calendar when those times are. And of course, when something says the week it's due, that means by the end of that week, right? Friday at midnight or at 11:59 p.m. EST. that week is when that assignment will be due, and there's its percentage there. Anyway, so yeah, information about all of this will come out over the semester as I get it all organized and ready for you. Right now, all that's really available to you is just, once again, some project recommendations and examples, because as you go through your course and project overview, you'll realize once again that this is very similar to your MMDD 232 course, where you're just going to be proposing and completing a project. Main difference being, once again, it's going to be over 9 weeks instead of 14 weeks. However, it's meant to be the same scale and scope of project in a lot of ways, because you are given more time, right? This is a 5-hour-a-week course technically, so you should be spending more time each week working on this project to be able to still reach pretty good goals with what you set for yourself. But you learned a lot last semester about maybe over anticipating your abilities. So I think keeping the scope pretty refined and close to home should be helpful this time around as well, so you don't overexert yourself or not reach expectations or all that kind of stuff. Anyway, so I have here, once again, classic asterisk, project recommendations and examples, because for this first week of the course, it's really just about you thinking about what you might want to do. Okay, that's what I would say spending your 5 hours this week doing, is going through, the course information and all this stuff I'm telling you to do, but also to simply just spend time thinking about what you might want to do. It doesn't have to be super specific yet. That can come next week when you put together your research and plan, but start looking into different approaches, different things that you might want to explore with your project this semester. And I have these recommended project ideas, which I've added a couple more to that I'm going to go ahead and cover in this video to make sure that I talk about it. Right, so the objective of this course is to research, propose, and execute a portfolio piece based on a technology or field of study that will have an impact on your future employment. Coming up with a project on your own can be difficult, so here's some suggested projects and suggested areas you can explore. A lot of these are the same ones from last semester, but there's a couple new ones, right? So one being this campus as a canvas mural. Rob would have told you some info about this, the program coordinator, but I'll go ahead and talk about it here as well. So the Campus as a Canvas initiative is a project by Humber College to utilize campus space for artistic and creative projects. The work you did in the L space last semester was a part of this project, which you were using the Lightform projector, I believe, to do. Humber Galleries has installed a gigantic mural, to quote Rob, 40 feet long. Here's an image of some of the mural right here. Nice little pretty deer. It's at the North Campus, and the artist has provided us with the source files, right? So the image files and all the kind of stuff here that was used to create this mural. This would be a fantastic opportunity for MMDD students, that's you, to create a motion or AR project with this mural, right? Using these assets, making something creative and interactive with it. The creative possibilities are endless, right? So if you want to think about some way you could use something like the Lightform with this mural, that would be awesome. If you want to just think about some AR-based thing where you stick your phone up at it and the deer start moving or something, I don't know, right? This is really, again, the creative possibilities are endless, but if you can think of any way to integrate some expertise of yours or some interest of yours into this mural, that would be awesome. Because then, not only is this mural something people can walk by and see, but they may also be able to do your interactive component with it as well, right? With a QR code or who knows what else. If you propose a project related to this mural, you'll be provided with any necessary info and source files to get going, right? So if you want to do something with this mural, whether it's motion, AR, or anything else that you could come up with, I'll make sure you get the necessary files to be able to do that. And so this is a cool opportunity if this interests you. Another opportunity is a client work opportunity with Citibank. So Citibank would like to create an interactive experience for some of its flagship locations to celebrate Pride 2022. They would like to leverage projection or LED lighting technology to display the Pride rainbow in the front windows of selected branches and have the projected rainbow react to people passing by the window using motion tracking. So that seems like a pretty complex project, but it could be a very, very compelling one to take on. So the goals and objectives of this project are is for it to be a clearly identifiable Pride rainbow displayed in the front windows, create a moment of surprise or delight to people passing by causing the rainbow to react to their motion in some way. It should reset itself back to the identifiable rainbow when there is no one interacting with the window area. Easy to set up and install in bank locations, possible projection onto projection film or pattern of projection film placed in the windows. Reinforce Citibank's commitment to the support of Pride, and not meant to be a Citibank branding opportunity, but more Pride focused, right? The rainbow and the message behind all of that. The audience is the public passing by the branch after hours. The messaging and tone. No specific messaging is required, but the experience needs to evoke a positive and surprising reaction. Okay, so these are sort of the requirements from the client on what they would like with this project. Assets and deliverables being phase 1. Conceptual ideations describing the intended experience, written or sketched. Phase 2. Refining selected concepts, identifying the required technology to execute your vision. And phase 3. Mock-up of experience at Envision's warehouse and test and refine. This is also something where if you decide to do it, I will make sure to get you connected with necessary people involved. I know that there was a similar opportunity last semester with Humber's motion graphics package. Students who did that project maybe felt that they didn't get very much input from the client in terms of their project progress. That can be an issue with these sort of projects. But like I said, I will do what I can to get you in contact with the right people to ensure that ideally you can move through this and hopefully have something very impressive at the end of the day. So if this interests you, once again, this is a possible direction you can take with the project, and you have experience with the Lightform projector, this could also be a really cool use of that projector. There's a lot of sort of, I'm supposed to be advertising to you to devise projects with that projector if you would like to use it, because it's there for you to use, MMDD students, and this is an opportunity for you to make something really impressive. So even if you don't want to do either the campus as a canvas or the Citibank client work with the Lightform projector, if you can come up with some other use that has that technology that you would like to do some kind of motion-based animation projection thing with, more power to you. Feel free to do that. It is there for you to use, basically. And once again, I can make sure that you have access to it and stuff like that. That's what I'm here to do. I'm supposed to be helping facilitate these projects. And then after that, what follows is just some classic recommendations from last semester, right? If you're interested in UI, UX design, redesigning an app. Some of you did this last semester with pretty good success of your submissions. Digital video production, creating and running a Twitch streaming channel. Some students did this last semester, and there was, again, some successful projects with this as well. Motion graphics, a branded motion graphics package. Most students who did this did the Humber branded package, but if there's something else, right, you could say, for instance, make motion graphics for, I don't know, CTV or National Geographic or some internet channel or something, Hot Ones motion graphics package. I don't know, but the idea is that you make a branded collection of different motion graphics. Web and graphic design, redesigning a branded website. Again, plenty of students did this last semester and were mostly successful as well. No one developed a branded UI sounds package last semester, so I don't know if this is just not a project students would be interested in, or I don't know what. Maybe it doesn't seem that impressive on your portfolio, but that's always an opportunity if you're interested in audio design. There were various social media campaigns made last semester, which again were overall pretty successful. This is something you could do if you're interested in this direction. Coding and programming, developing a branded minigame. The students who took this one on, it seemed to be one of the more cumbersome projects due to all the coding and programming. So if you decide to do gaming-based project this semester, I may recommend you look into some tools, game development tools, rather than just coding it from scratch, because I think that becomes quite arduous for students to do, especially in a program that isn't super coding and programming focused. Anyway, that was a quick run through, but you can of course go through these and assess for yourself what you feel like you might want to do this semester. But as always, you can do things completely outside of these realms too. These are just suggested topics if you are needing some help figuring out how to get going. And I also have provided some previous student examples from last semester just to get a sense of some successful projects from students. And maybe you've already seen some of these. I don't know. This was a student who turned still painting into motion in AR. And you'll notice it is actually presented as a Medium article, which is a really great way to professionally kind of share your work and get people's eyes on it. So it may actually be a requirement with your final submission this semester to do a Medium article like this, due to the success this student, I believe, had with it. This is a great submission where you can see how the student went through this project, as well as, lots of great video examples and screen captures showing how they worked on this thing across the semester with great commentary as well. So this is definitely a successful project to take a look at how a student took still image paintings and made AR experiences out of them. Overall, very successful submission. And I say here, some successes to keep in mind with this project is how well the student interweaves storytelling in the presentation of their project process. So going through this document really feels like a story, right? As you're seeing someone develop these skills, come across, frustrations and break through them, and learning all sorts of different new applications in the process and different ways to do projects. The way the student relates the project direction to their personal life and interests is also very powerful, in how it's introduced at the very beginning and why this was the subject chosen for this project. Has a very personal connection with the student, as well as detailed examples of project progress, learning new skills and programs. Like I said, going through this, you can really get a sense of how the student grew, what they learned, and how a project like this unfolds, as well as how this student approaches creative work. And so this is just a great submission to look at for inspiration possibility, right? Inspiration possibly. So that's something the students could do too. Not to say you should copy and paste what this student did, but if you have interest in maybe thinking of a motion AR projection, again, of a still painting turned motion based, that's something you could consider for this as well, right? Maybe you do a series of images from an artist, similar like what this student did. Here's an example of a student who reimagined a brand, reimagined Under Armour as basically a sort of beauty and lifestyle type brand. And this is a very compelling project. And once again, the creative process is detailed very well here. But also you can just, again, in scrolling through this visually, you can see how the students' work changed and evolved to become this final project. And so some successes to note with this. It is a professional branded presentation that's very well organized. So final assets linked elsewhere and all work perfectly. So if you go through this student submission of this project and you scroll down to where the final project is showcased, you'll notice that you can click on these links, right? View all assets. And it opens up a Google Drive where the assets are very easily accessible. And of course, when I was going through this, I was just so impressed to see how well organized. Right, here's mock-ups, here's a brand style guide. All of these files work. They're uploaded. They're sleek, extremely well organized. They're professional. This to me feels like the sort of project a client would pay thousands of dollars for. So whether or not it's Under Armour, I don't know. But this is just, again, inspiration to see the level of quality that came out of last semester that I was just very impressed with. Other things in this presentation, right, it exudes passion, enthusiasm, and personality, and how it guides the reader through their creative process. A lot of personality in that submission, and just overall a robust, comprehensive project that feels effortless, but took significant time and effort to complete. This feels like the student did it in their sleep, but clearly they did not, because it took a lot of effort to create this thing, right? Which is the whole point of these projects. Here is another project from a student, which was developing an e-commerce store. This is a downloadable PDF. So let me just download it and open it here. And so this student, let me close some of these windows, made an e-commerce store for their fluid artwork business. And once again, this is just a very cool looking presentation, honestly. Shows a very unique creative vision. Goes through the creative process in a very succinct manner, but still shows the process they went through with things like logo sketches, as well as the paintings that they created. And then the final project is viewable at this link. Let me just copy and paste it here. I think that hyperlink would typically work. It just doesn't in Chrome, so don't worry there. And then here is the live store, basically, right, with fully branded materials. And you can go and you can shop and you can see the students' work, right, showcased on this website. And so some successes from this project being significant creativity, artistry, and originality were demonstrated here, right? There's a very distinct creative vision that comes across very, I think, powerfully with this work. The final deliverable is succinct while remaining informative and clear. So this isn't a super elaborate document taking you through every single step of every aspect, but it still covers everything you need to know in sort of a more almost bite-sized kind of way. But that's, again, fantastic in that sense as well, how it succinctly covers all of that. As well as the project is very clearly tied to the creator's personal, professional, and artistic interests and will live on after the course, right? A great thing about a project like this is that this is now an e-commerce store. The student can go around advertising to their friends or telling people about. It isn't just something that they submitted to me and then now it's gone, right? So these 3 projects I just wanted to kind of highlight here because they show a lot of different directions students can go with these projects in different disciplines, but they all, I think, show the level of sort of effort that goes into these things. And there are, of course, countless projects from last semester that could be highlighted here. I just chose these because I thought that they were very good at just showing, once again, different directions students went with this class and with this project, and ideally, again, could act as some form of inspiration for your own projects this semester. And there's some project recommendations and examples. Again, you can go through as well in your own time. I know I've been talking quite a bit about them here. And like I said, more specifics for all of your deliverables will come out over time. But for now in week 1, just spend some time going through these course materials that are available to you, especially, the overview of the course and outline and all of that, as well as just spending time thinking about what you might want to do this semester for your project. And next week, you'll be working more intently on your research and plan that you will submit by the end of the week. But you should have, again, a good amount of time to be able to put that together. And just before, let me just make sure I have a written list here. I want to make sure that I covered everything. Okay, something else I wanted to say here. Again, with the change of the new Blackboard, there was also another change that happened, which is Adobe Spark was how I did a lot of the documents last semester that you may remember. Well, now it's called Adobe Express. So that changed. And with that change, as well as the new change to Blackboard, it is a bit more difficult for me to provide you with PDF files of these lessons and documents as they exist in this form. So what I would really recommend students do when it comes to these documents and stuff is to take notes on your own of the most necessary information that you can refer back to offline if you need to. Because otherwise these things kind of just do exist in an online manner through Blackboard. And as you can see as well, I can't even embed them on the Blackboard like I used to. They have to be links. That's because Blackboard Ultra does not allow me to embed HTML. Instead, I have to provide links like this. So just, again, some things to get used to. I know some students often said that they wish that they had offline files of this. So my recommendation here is to create notes of the most important information for you to refer back to. That also will ensure that you are kind of, putting this information in your brain by repeating it somewhere else instead of just having a document that you refer to. You can actually write down the due dates, which might actually make you remember them more. So that's just, again, a nuance, a quirk to keep in mind with the way that these lessons are presented here. And let's see. Okay. So with that, I also, just to close off this video, I have provided here information for the labor relations stuff going on right now, which you may have heard about. I simply have provided this to you here for transparency, just so students have some idea of what's going on right now. So your faculty, that's including me, right, and all your professors, we're currently involved in a labor relations sort of scenario that may have an effect on how your courses run this semester. Again, you don't have to worry about it too much right now, I don't think, but this is just something to have in the back of your mind. These links below are intended to make this information clearer to students. So this is a YouTube video that kind of explains what a union is. Not to get super in depth on all of this, but that might give you some sense of why your faculty is a part of a union and what it means for the union to be negotiating with our employers and why, the current labor relations scenario is happening the way that it is. This is work to rule information, which is technically what all your faculty is doing right now. And then, so if you click on this, this is just information from the union about what work to rule is, what that means for the professors, but also what that means to students, right? There's an FAQ here that details some of this. And this is a bargaining info package for students that, again, provides information and links that you can look into for more in-depth information about all this stuff that's going on. It's a lot to try and cover, especially in a video like this where I am really trying to focus on you just going through your course, going through your project information and all of that kind of stuff. But I will say that you may just notice currently right now the way that the faculty is working. We are currently working in this work to rule sort of format, which means that we are following our contracts pretty by the book, which means that things that your professors may have done outside of what was requested of them by our employer may not be happening so much currently right now in your classes. So I will say that's why, for instance, I don't really plan on doing my own project alongside you this term, simply because that's something that I did that was not requested from me in my contract. That was something I did just on my own time and stuff. And so right now we are kind of advised not to do that sort of stuff simply because we are trying to negotiate for better working conditions for us. If you have any specific questions about this, you can definitely ask me about that too. Again, I'm not sure exactly how transparent I'm supposed to be about all that, but I figured I would include this information here for you to look into if you have any questions. And it should just give you some insight into why or what's going on with your faculty right now. Yeah, so that's that. And that should cover, again, week 1 of this announcement. And your announcements are also going to look different on Blackboard. I'm not even sure exactly how you will see them, but I'm guessing here on the announcements tab is where you would see them. So I'm going to create an announcement that has all this information in it, and you're going to see where that ends up. I'm going to see where that ends up too. This will be the first grand Blackboard Ultra announcement. And with that, you'll see this video. I'll also write out some directions in there of what to do for this week. And I think that covers it. So really the most important thing for you to do now, check out the course information, watch the video, go through this course and project overview, check out some of these project recommendations and examples, get thinking about what you might want to do for this semester in this course. You will also note that, again, the check-in I have starting actually this week. So if students really would like to meet with me this week already to talk about their projects, you're welcome to just book an office hours meeting with me. Even though the specifics of the check-in aren't technically written out yet on Blackboard, if you really want to meet this semester or this week to already start talking about your project, I'm happy to. So you can just, once again, find my office hours here and book a meeting. Okay. Well, that's, I think, a lot of information, but we're back at it. We're here in winter 2022. MMDD 255, Emerging Multimedia Practice 2. We're hitting the ground running, and we're going to have an amazing semester. And I suppose with that, of course, I will simply say thank you for watching this video. Take care and good luck, and feel free to reach out if you have any questions.